Have you ever pondered on the origins of man-eaters? Let's journey back to a time when the line between man and beast was not as distinct as it is today. A time when early humans were not yet the dominant species and faced threats from an array of predatory animals. The dawn of man-eaters was a time of survival, a time of fear, and a time of awe. Imagine a world where humans were not at the top of the food chain, a world where every rustle in the underbrush could mean danger, where every shadow in the twilight could conceal a predator. It was in this world that the first man-eaters emerged. Why did these creatures turn to hunting humans, you might wonder? Well, the reasons are as diverse as the creatures themselves. Some, like the iconic saber-toothed tiger, might have been drawn by our ancestors' relative lack of defenses. Others might have been forced to adapt to a changing environment, with humans becoming an easier target as their natural prey dwindled. There are also theories that some of these predatory animals might have developed a taste for human flesh after scavenging on human remains. It's an eerie thought, isn't it? That our ancestors could have unwittingly contributed to the creation of the very beasts that hunted them. The dawn of man-eaters was a period of primal fear for our ancestors. They lived in a world where death could come from above, below, or right beside them. A world where they were not the hunters, but the hunted. But it was also a time of resilience and adaptation. Our ancestors learned to protect themselves, to fight back, and to respect the power of the creatures that shared their world. They learned to live with the threat of man-eaters, and in doing so, they set the stage for the world we know today. With this backdrop, let's journey through time to meet some of history's most notorious man-eaters. The late 19th century was marked by the terror of the Tsavo Man-Eaters. In the heart of Kenya, two lions known as the Tsavo Man-Eaters embarked on a terrifying reign of predation. These weren't your average lions, they were man-eaters notorious for their insatiable appetite for human flesh. Their reign of terror lasted 9 long months, from March to December of 1898. The Tsavo Man-Eaters were no ordinary predators. They were a pair of male lions, yet they lacked the distinctive manes that are the hallmark of their gender. More disturbingly, they seemed to target humans exclusively, a behavior that is highly unusual for lions, who typically prefer wild game. During their reign, it's believed they feasted on as many as 35 railway workers, although some estimates suggest the number could be significantly higher. These were men constructing the Uganda Railway, a project of great importance that was temporarily brought to a halt by the fear these lions instilled. The man responsible for ending their reign was Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson, a British officer and engineer. Patterson hunted the lions for several weeks before he was finally able to bring them down, but the terror they inflicted during their reign left a lasting impact, forever immortalized in Patterson's book, The Man-Eaters of Tsavo. But what led to this unusual behavior? Theories abound. Some suggest a shortage of natural prey due to a rinderpest epidemic. Others posit that a taste for human flesh was acquired through scavenging unburied bodies during the slave trade era. Whatever the reason, the Tsavo Man-Eaters were an anomaly, a chilling testament to the unpredictability of nature. Their impact was such that they have been immortalized in literature, film, and even in the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago, where their taxidermied bodies are on display. The Tsavo Man-Eaters left a chilling legacy, but they were not the only man-eaters to instill fear in mankind. Moving eastwards to the Indian subcontinent, we encounter the Champawat Tigress. This was not your average Bengal tiger. She was a predator of a different kind, one that had developed a taste for human flesh. The Champawat Tigress was responsible for an estimated 436 deaths in Nepal and India, making her one of the deadliest man-eaters on record. Her reign of terror began in Nepal before she was driven across the border into India due to aggressive hunting by the Nepalese army. Yet her relocation did not stop her. The Indian terrain of Champawat proved to be a new hunting ground filled with unsuspecting victims. The danger was not merely in her presence, but in her stealth. She was a silent stalker, a ghost in the grass that struck fear in the hearts of the local communities. She was not invincible, though. Her reign came to an end when she was hunted down by the legendary big game hunter, Jim Corbett, in the early 20th century. But what led this tigress down such a deadly path? Theories suggest that she turned to hunting humans due to severe dental issues that made it difficult for her to capture her natural prey. The impact of the Champawat Tigress on the local communities was profound. Villages were abandoned, fields left fallow, and daily life came to a standstill. The fear was so pervasive that people would not venture out alone, even in the day. The terror she inflicted created a folklore of its own, her tales whispered around campfires and in hushed conversations. Yet, in her death, she left behind a legacy. The story of the Champawat Tigress serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between man and nature, the consequences of habitat destruction, and the lengths to which animals can go for survival. The Champawat Tigress was a deadly force, but our journey of man-eaters is not yet complete. Our exploration now brings us to the leopard of the central provinces. In the heart of India there lived a male leopard, a creature of the night whose reign of terror lasted for over 8 long years. This animal, known as the leopard of the central provinces, reportedly claimed the lives of over 150 people, marking him as one of the most notorious man-eaters in history. Now imagine the local communities living in constant fear, never knowing when the leopard would strike next. The impact of this leopard was such that it changed the way of life for these people, with fear dictating their every move. It was not just a threat to their safety, but a disruption to their livelihoods, as they were forced to stay indoors after sunset, abandoning their usual nocturnal activities. Theories abound as to why this leopard turned into a man-eater. Some say it was due to an injury that made hunting wild game difficult, forcing the leopard to turn to easier prey, humans. Others argue that the encroachment of human settlements into the leopard's territory left it with no choice but to adapt its hunting habits. But the truth remains unknown. The reign of the leopard of the central provinces came to an end when he was finally tracked down. The task was not easy by any means. Hunting a man-eater requires patience, skill, and a lot of courage. The hunter must outwit the animal, predict its moves, and strike at the right moment. It's a dangerous game where the hunter can quickly become the hunted. The leopard of the central provinces is more than just a story of a man-eater. It's a tale of survival, of adaptation, and of the complex relationship between humans and wildlife. It serves as a reminder of the delicate balance we share with nature, and the consequences when that balance is tipped. The leopard of the central provinces added to the fear and fascination of man-eaters. As we've journeyed through history, we must ask, have man-eaters evolved? The answer to that question is as complex as nature itself. To start, let's consider the interactions between humans and these creatures over time. In the past, humans lived in harmony with nature, respecting the boundaries of different species. However, as our population grew and our needs expanded, we began encroaching upon their territories. This intrusion, coupled with our relentless hunting, has drastically reduced their natural prey, forcing them to seek alternative food sources, which unfortunately sometimes includes us. This change in animal behavior is not evolution in the biological sense, but rather an adaptation to the rapidly changing environment humans have created. Predators are opportunistic by nature. When their usual food sources become scarce, they're forced to adapt, and that's when they might start viewing us as potential meals. Now, let's look at the impact of our activities on wildlife habitats. The relentless march of urbanization, deforestation, and climate change has significantly shrunk the habitats of these animals. This destruction of their homes pushes them into human settlements, escalating the frequency of human-animal conflicts. But what does the future hold? Could we see a rise in man-eaters due to these developments? It's a possibility. As we continue to infringe on wildlife habitats, we increase the chances of such tragic encounters. However, this is not a future set in stone. With concerted conservation efforts, we can change this trajectory. Conservation is not just about protecting animals, it's about protecting us, too. By preserving their habitats, we reduce the likelihood of man-animal conflicts. By ensuring they have enough prey, we decrease the chances of them turning to us for sustenance. In essence, our survival and theirs are intertwined. We're part of the same ecosystem, and our actions can either harm or help that delicate balance. Man-eaters, a chilling yet fascinating part of our history, serve as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between man and nature. It's a balance we must strive to maintain for our own survival and for the survival of the incredible wildlife with which we share this planet.